So where I left off at was I was standing in line trying to board my flight from Myrtle Beach to Atlanta. My ticket wasn't working. The lady asked me to stand over to the side. So let me paint the scene. There was a older white lady who was standing in front of me. She or not standing. She was sitting in front of me in one of those wheelchairs. The girl that I had talked to in the line earlier. If you don't know who I'm talking about, go back to part 3. She had walked up behind me. I didn't know this, but she was behind me when all this happened. So, from what I understand, the older white lady was basically saying, "I I want my bag off of this flight." Apparently, they were going to be on this flight, but they decided that they didn't want to be on this flight, and they wanted their bag to be taken off of the flight so that they can have their bag for the flight that they were going to take tomorrow. That's the basis of what the issue was. Um, the lady who was scanning the tickets, I guess, had already helped this lady. And I think where we start to get lost is you got to understand that there's moments where they can only help you so far, and then they got to start helping other people. Mind you, this was a long weekend. This outage, it messed up a lot of things. It wasn't just the airlines, it was banks. It was, like I said, Starbucks was up in arms. Like, a lot of people were affected by this, and so I need. I was just sitting there like, why don't we all have just a little bit more patience? So the lady who was scanning the tickets, I think, had already helped this woman. She was sitting there, and I guess what might have kind of triggered her was that there were more and more people being added to the section where she was sitting at, and so there were more and more people that needed help. So she was standing there. They had asked me to go over there, and when I had gone over there, other people were standing off to the side. I didn't know what their issue was, but I come to find out they were also people who wanted their bag off of this flight because they had been rebooked on another flight. So they just wanted their bags. All right, cool. Now let's pause. If you have ever seen bags be loaded onto a plane, you know that this is not the easiest thing to ask for. Like, you're asking for them to go under the plane. They stack all of the suitcases on top of each other and around each other. And so what you're asking for is them to go through every single suitcase until they find yours. You know how many people were on this flight? You know how many people checked their bags? Bro, you're asking for something that's going to take time. It's not like they said, oh, okay, these are the people that are probably going to ask for their bag back. Let's put those over here. No, they had to go through every single bag that they stacked. And so I'm saying that because the people behind me, they seem to be understanding. Like, I know I'm asking for a lot. But this older white lady in front of me, I don't think she understood that what you're maybe she had never seen it before. I don't know. I just know that I have seen it. I've seen it happen before. I've seen them stack them, and I've seen them load them on. I've seen them take them off. I've seen them have to go back in there and pull them. So I'm like, oh, this is about to make this plane late. So I'm over here thinking that. So she continues, the lady who was checking the ticket, she continued to check people onto the plane. Someone comes up to her from the other side of where she was at. So in proximity, me and the older white lady on the right of this lady, the lane is in between us and the lady checking the tickets. On the other side of the lady checking the tickets were a set of seats. So someone comes up to her, and basically what he was asking was, and he was like, listen, I know I'm about to get on your last nerves, but I just gotta, I have to know so that I can be okay. Am I going to be able to make it on this flight? Now, here's where I use my common sense. If you've ever worked in customer service, if you've ever worked with the public, you know that you cannot promise people anything, because if you promise them something, they're going to hold on to it. And then they're going to blame you if they don't get it. And so you have to be very conscious of the words that you use and what you say that you can do for people. So she basically told him, I got to finish scanning these people in, and then I can let you know. She already knew that there was going to be room because there was like 6 people who wanted off the flight. So that means there's going to be 6 seats available. So yes, you probably will be able to get on this flight. But is she going to say that to you? No, because then if what happens, something might happen. Who knows? At this point, with the fucking outage, no one was expecting that. And so, who knows? You might not be able to make it on this flight. I'm not going to tell you yes until I know for sure that I have booked you a seat and you are getting on this plane. So she has this conversation with him. I'll let you know. He's like, thank you so much. The older white lady in front of me pipes up. Mind you, she doesn't work for Delta. So I don't know why she even spoke up. But she gets the attention of the lady who's scanning the tickets. Right, there's people still trying to get on this plane. She gets the attention of the lady scanning the tickets and is like, oh, we're getting off the plane. And we're getting off the plane. We're just getting our bags. So the lady at the ticket scanning tickets was like, ma'am, thank you. I will help you in a minute. Just give us a second. Please give us a second. And she was, you could tell that she had had a day. But she was like, please, ma'am, we'll help you in a minute. Just give us a second. And I was like, okay. So this lady, she sits down. And then she turns to us, me and the girl I was talking to in the line, and is like, I was just trying to let her know that we were getting off the plane. And so there's going to be seats. So the lady behind me, the girl I was talking to in the line, she's so patient because I did not make eye contact with this lady. I was like, don't talk to me about it. I said, no, ma'am, I don't agree with you because you don't work for Delta and you don't see all these people trying to get on this plane. Can you just not talk to these people? They're trying to do their job. So I was like, I'm not making contact with you, girl. Like, no. So the lady behind me was like, she was like, yeah. She was like, I understand. She tried to explain it to her like, I think they're just trying to get people on the plane, and so that's why they asked us all to wait, or whatever she said. And so the white lady turned around. They're still scanning people. They're scanning people. Next thing you know, a gate agent who's a man, came up and walked up behind the desk. So now okay. There's the white lady in front of me. There's me. There's the lady who's standing that I talked to in the line who's flying standby for this flight. And then there's all the people who wanted their bags from under the plane. All of us are just kind of crowded around the desk. There was no one at the desk, so there didn't need to be a line. So we were all just kind of standing around. So he comes up and he just starts asking people how can he help them. He starts with the older white lady in front of me. And he's like, how can I help you? So she explains, we just want to get our bags off the flight and we want to be rebooked onto another flight. He's like, okay, sounds good. She goes, can you talk to my daughter? And she was like, I'm going to call my daughter. Can you just talk to her about rebooking us? He you could tell he struggled a little bit, but then he got it together. He was like, I'm just going to give you some options. You can just tell me what you want and I'll book you right there. And she's like, I can just call my daughter really quickly. And I understand. I'm not going to get into all the things that I talk to my family about with how this looks. But the one thing I will say is, if you had enough energy and enough pipe up to talk to that lady about getting off the plane, you can just answer his question. He's just gonna say, do you want to get on the flight that leaves from here to Orlando at 4, or do you want to go connection to Philly? You just got to tell him yes or no. That's it. You don't need to call your daughter. You got it. And you'll understand why I said what I said after this. So she tells the man, I'm just going to call her. So she calls her daughter right then and there. Because I think what she thought was going to happen was he was going to finish helping her. But he went on to me. He was like, okay, so what's going on with you? Or no. He didn't go on to me. He went on to the lady behind me. I'm not even going to get into that, but whatever. The lady behind me. He goes, okay, so what's going on with you? She was like, I'm flying standby. I just need to know if I can get on this flight. But she was in front of me. Shout out to an ally. She was in front of me, so you need to help her first. And he was like, okay, I'll help her. Yes, you can get on this flight. This is a quick fix, so I can just do this right quick. So he does it, and then he asked me, okay, so what's going on with you? I said, my ticket doesn't work. I'm on this flight. She scanned my ticket, blah, blah, blah. I tell him the whole thing. Then he goes, okay, so let me call the help desk. So he's doing multiple things at once. Clearly, he's worked here a long time. He goes on to ask the other people, why are y'all standing here? They all want their bags off of the plane. So he calls the person who does that, and it's like, hey, I need you to get these bags off the plane. She goes, the plane is full. Basically, it's all these bags on here. You want me to go in here and find these 4 bags? And he said, yes, if you can't do it, tell me. But if you can, please try and do it. And so he's having that conversation. I don't know what happened with this white lady in front of me. I guess she just lost her cool. I don't know, because she had her daughter on the phone, and then she tries to get the attention of the lady scanning the tickets. And the lady scanning the tickets was like, ma'am, we'll help you. We're just trying to get all these people on this plane. This lady loses it. She screams, you need to help me and get us these tickets. I said,